certainly been tweeting out the ammunition. And that's why do gotta go. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories. You know, I'm just gonna engage in real talk. I don't want to waste your time with anything else.
What is your favorite musical genre?
Oh, I mean, I'm hip-hop and reggae and jazz. Those are some of my favorites.
Okay.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Like
And I inhale. I did inhale.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price.
We shall pay any price,
Bear any burden.
bear any burden,
Accept any challenge and meet any hardship
meet any hardship,
to secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children.
to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children,
If the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children,
the quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play,
or the joy of their play,
Come on, man. And now, another minute of Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't.
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame. Except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming.
She's the Boston Herald's wittiest wordsmith, the last woman standing at the Whiskey Priest. Once a very legitimate magazine that we definitely didn't make up named her the Michael Jordan of radio. Wait, don't you think we're laying it on a little thick here, Grace?
Just stick to the script.
Oh, okay. Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Hello, everyone. Hello, 98.3 WXME. Thank you for joining us in the first segment of the Grace Curley Show on this beautiful Monday in New England. Oh, we've got tons of news to get to. Obviously, the Andrew Cuomo story is not going away. Scandal after scandal keeps appearing. New rules from the CDC are coming out for people who get the vaccine. We're going to be breaking down the COVID relief bill. We have Chris DeGaulle joining the show in the 1 o'clock hour. And just tons and tons of news. But I don't know if you guys know this at 98.3. My roots were really built on pop culture. It was when I was younger, I was obsessed. I loved celebrities. I loved red carpets. I loved the whole thing. I loved E! And that is why, in honor of that and staying true to myself, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the colossal pop culture moment that happened yesterday. And that was the interview between the man formerly known as Prince and Meghan Markle. They were interviewed by Oprah Winfrey on CBS. It was a 2-hour interview. I think if you really added in all the commercials, it was more like a 20-minute interview. But regardless, Oprah's production company was paid $7 million by CBS. Now, according to reports, the Sussexes were not paid for their interview. We will see if that turns out to be true, but that's what people are saying as of right now. And I'm not going to lie. This was not one of those situations where they amped it up and then didn't deliver. They did drop a good amount of tea. And I remember when Meghan was part of the royal family and she got married and there was all these stories coming out. She was, infighting and fighting with Kate and, all these stories. I said to one of my friends who's very invested in the royal life, I said, yeah, but the thing is, we'll never know. We will never know what really happened. And you could still say we don't know because there's three sides to every story. But we did get from their viewpoint what happened. Whether you choose to believe that is a different story. I'm very skeptical of some of the accusations that they came out with last night. I think someone who has a really good idea of what's going on with this is Piers Morgan. He's not the most liked man in Britain, but he usually has a pretty hot take on these things, and he doesn't care about hurting people's feelings. He doesn't care about getting canceled. He's good, and he was on with Fox News today, and we'll go through some of those clips throughout the show. He kind of broke it down, but at first I want to tell you guys what I think, because that's why you tune into the Grace Curley Show, is to get my hot take. And I have to say, out of the two of them, I'm more shocked at Harry than anything else. And here's why. Meghan Markle, you can love her, you can hate her, doesn't really matter to me. But she was a B-list actress from America. She's a California girl. And she's clearly ambitious. She's made quite a life for herself. And I don't think that, any of this has really damaged her reputation or anything like that. I think it's kind of brought her up to a new level of stardom. But for Prince Harry, this is a guy who was raised in the royal family. He was very close with his brother, the future king of England. He was very close with Kate. He seemed to have a good relationship with everybody there. And he has really thrown it all away. He has really come at them and aired their dirty laundry. And part of this has me thinking that he really should have known what this life was going to be like. Last night, she said a lot of things. One, she went right off the bat with a pretty big whopper, in my opinion, which was, I've never Googled Prince Harry. Now, I can tell you, as a woman from America, that when you start dating someone, you Google them. Maybe you don't Google them, but you Instagram them or you Facebook them or you Twitter them and you check out their profile. You go far back too. You dig. You figure out, their interests, their likes, their pages they follow. You're telling me you go on a date with Prince Harry and you don't do a quick Google search? Maybe she got away with that answer because maybe she's more of like a Bing person or an Ask Jeeves. So she was kind of skirting around the issue there. But that was the first one. And that was the first case of like, you really could have kind of endeared people to you by just being honest. It would have been a little self-deprecating, like, oh yeah, of course I Googled him. But no, she came right off the bat saying she didn't Google him. And then it kind of just got more and more unbelievable. She said that she didn't know she had to curtsy when she met the Queen in a private setting because she said, it's your grandmother. I am not a royal buff. I don't know everything about the royal family, but I know that. I know that when they eat together, that you cannot, I think the rule is like eat after the Queen is done. Once the Queen is done eating, everyone's done eating. Like they have rules. It doesn't matter if you're inside or outside, public, private. The Queen is the Queen. So I found that a little unbelievable too. Like just because she's a Cali girl doesn't mean you don't know that kind of information. But the real meat of the interview had to do with a lot of inferences that the crown and the royal family are racist. There's just no other way to put it. She kind of implied that they didn't make Archie a prince because he was, that Meghan Markle, I think, is 25% black. She's of mixed race, and that was an issue for them. That was what they were trying to get across. And the real controversial thing they said a few things, but the real big one was that there was a conversation about how dark Archie's skin color would be. Now, Piers Morgan said this today too. If that is true, that is terrible. And if it is true, they should tell us who said it. Because it's that terrible of an accusation to let linger out there that they should say who made that accusation. But instead they say, we're not going to name who said it. So let's just leave it out there. Let's just let it hang. Let the whole family come across as racist. And I saw a lot of comments from people, and I promise, guys, we won't do this for 3 hours. God knows we will not. But I saw a lot of comments from people on Twitter and stuff saying, oh, I feel so bad for you. You have so much money and you're living in... And I don't really think in that way because I do feel that, mental health, it can affect people. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If your brain can kill you. If your mind's in a bad spot, it can break you down no matter what. But what I will say is turning on your family is not a good look. Whether you're broke or whether you're a billionaire, turning on your family and burning that bridge is never a good idea. And it speaks a lot to your character. Because at the end, my mom used to say it all the time to us when we were little. Sometimes we'd fight, or you'd come home and you'd say, I would say my brother, like let's say Brian. I would say Brian said this about me to so and so. He made fun of me. My mom would look at us and she would say, all you have in this life is your family. We're not the royals, but we knew that. And the fact that it's 2021 and Harry is on CBS dishing dirt about his grandma to Oprah Winfrey. Not good. And I've said it once and I'll say it again. I blame Harry. I do. I think he let this get so out of control. He looked very uncomfortable during the whole thing. He was fidgeting with his wedding band. And I just think that he should have known going in. He should have prepared her and said, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's not, all glamour. It's a lot of boredom. And I don't think they were ready for it. If you guys have any thoughts, call in 844-500-4242. We'll be dishing the dirt for the rest of this hour. This is The Grace Curley Show.
The Grace Curley Show will be right back.
It's a new year and time for a new you. DiStefano Hair Restoration changed my life and they can change yours too. My production director said when he saw a recent pic of me that, you look great, like Benjamin Button. You're getting younger. That's quite the compliment, and I owe it to DiStefano Hair Restoration and Dr. Chris Hines. Many wait years before they get the hair restoration they deserve. Stop waiting and just get it done. You won't regret it, and you'll ask yourself, why did you wait so long? You can see my before and after photo shoot on their site at hairman.com. Hairman.com. DiStefano Hair Restoration is taking all the necessary precautions to keep you safe during your visit. They also offer virtual consultations. Go to hairman.com today and schedule your free consultation and get the hair you deserve and have always wanted. Dr. Hines took care of me and he'll take care of you too. Visit them today at hairman.com.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential worker.
But the people aren't hiring because of...
No, there are people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you can be an essential worker and you're not going to kill anyone. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. Because I can all see you are in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice floral bouquet. A little I detected lilac, hydrangea, tulips. What does it smell like to you? Tulips, yes. Floral bouquet.
Because if that's who they are, and if they are the extreme conservatives, they have no place in the state of New York.
Brace yourself, guys. Here is 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. That they wanted their voices to be heard. I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163. Was it 163 Republicans voted no. Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid. The rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love, and to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some jack loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it.
All right, here is the official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony! Hey, this guy's a great big phony!
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Welcome, 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 New England, to the Grace Curley Show. We are spilling the hot tea today. There is so much drama, and I'm happy to say it is kind of refreshing to have a little drama that does not revolve around the Trumps. This drama is royal. If you guys missed it, the big interview last night was on CBS. Meghan Markle and the man formerly known as Prince decided to sit down with Oprah Winfrey and dish on everything from Archie to their security that they did not get from the palace and all sorts of drama. I was actually very impressed with the amount of gossip that we got. I thought it was going to be more of a, I can't go there, but they did kind of lay everything out, except for they would accuse the royals of something and then they would not say who actually said it. We will get into all that. But first, disclaimer here. Grace Curley, I cannot lie to you guys. I love celebrity gossip. I love pop culture. I always have. I've tried to shake it. I can't. It's in me. It's part of who I am. Now, if you hate royal gossip, if you're going to call up and say, I don't give a bleep about these royals, first of all, we ask for FCC that you censor yourself, but feel free. I get that. I totally get it. We won the revolution, and a lot of people feel like that was the last time they ever had to worry about the British. But I'm going to talk about it because I have to, because I just think about it. It was all over Twitter. It's the biggest news story. I've got the mailroom manager texting me about it. I got my neighbors texting me about it. I've got people's moms texting me about it. People are talking about this, whether you like it or not. Now, what I will say is we will be moving on throughout the day to other things. Andrew Cuomo, there was 2 more accusers accusing him of sexual harassment. A lot to break down in this COVID-19 relief bill. The media is at it again with just pure propaganda about Joe Biden. But I do want to start with this because sometimes, whether you like it or not, a story is a big story and it captivates people. And I don't think anyone ever predicted or anyone would have ever thought that in 2021 we would be watching Prince Harry talking crap about the royal family on TV. It's a big deal. Whether or not you watched it or not, that is a big deal. 844-542-4242. People are already calling in. I'm sure you guys have strong opinions on this. But the $7 million interview happened last night, and I got to give you guys my take on it. First of all, I blame Harry in this whole breakdown as far as the division between him and the royals. And here's why. Harry grew up in this family. Harry knows exactly what it's like to be a royal. I do not think... Now, there's 2 situations here. One, he did not give Meghan enough info on this. Because according to her, she doesn't Google things. Suspicious. And she really had no idea what the royal life was like. Obviously, we take that with a grain of salt. It sounds a little ridiculous. But I think as the prince, it is his job to find a match who he really thinks can handle this life. And I'm going to be the first one to admit I could not handle it. As an American girl, and I'm not trying to put myself on the same level as Meghan Markle, but in showbiz, there is an element of arrogance and an element of ego that people have. She was a B-list actress, but she was successful. I'm sure she was ambitious, and I'm sure she has, a good deal of ego, and that's okay. But when you become a princess, as weird as it sounds, because I know you get to wear the dresses and the tiaras and it sounds great, but there is an element of you are not here to make your mark. You are here to help the queen. You are here to fall in line. There's literally a hierarchy, and you are towards the bottom of it. You're not going to be the next queen. You're just here to play that role. And Harry, you didn't have to be a genius to figure out that she did not want to do that. One of the stories I heard was that some designers sent her some free stuff, and the royal, aides sent it back because that's not what they're supposed to do. Now, if Louis Vuitton sent Grace Curley a bunch of free swag and Jared took it upon himself and sent it all back, I'd be like, Jared, what the heck? You didn't even let me try on the boots. But that's the protocol. That's the life you sign up for. And so I really do think that there was an element of either knowing they were never going to do what they were supposed to do, or she was being completely naive. And I kind of am starting to feel as though it was a little bit more calculated. And one example of this I will give is when she said, which I thought was a real slap, and there was a few things that were slaps in the face to the royal family, but one that's a little bit more subtle was she said they actually got married 3 days before that royal wedding. The royal wedding, especially in Britain, is a huge deal. You know how we talk about ratings on this show? If you Googled the ratings for these royal weddings, it's astronomical. Like the Golden Globes, as bad as they are, they're even worse when you compare them to the royal weddings. The taxpayers in England, they pay a lot of money to watch these people get married. And they make money too. I mean, it's a good thing for the economy there, but these weddings are expensive and everybody watches them. She said last night that they actually got married for real 3 days before. So in other words, that whole thing was a show. And now she's admitting it. And I think that's kind of an amazing admission because that really makes them look bad. They couldn't even wait to actually do the real thing. They had to do it first, just to kind of spite all these people who were watching it. And then there's the bigger elephant in the room, which is the fact that they're saying that someone in the royal family asked about how dark Archie's skin would be. But again, if someone said that, that's terrible. But name the name. Tell us who said it. Let's go. Let's face let the accusers be accused. But I want to know who said it. And I said this in the last segment for the people who join us, earlier, but the fact is that I don't care how much money they have. Good for them. I'm not saying that you can't struggle if you have a lot of money. The timing of this is poor. I mean, especially during the end of this pandemic, people are really struggling. It's hard for people to empathize with their current situation, but people have their own issues, and I get that. What I will say, though, is I don't think it's a good idea to turn on your family, ever. If you're a prince, if you're a pauper, I don't think it's a good look. And I'll be curious what you guys think. Actually, let's take one call here really fast. Tom, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Go ahead, Tom. You're starting us off. Royal Rumble, go ahead.
Grace. Hi, Grace. All this talk of the royal family.
Yeah.
If this is a ploy to get people to change the channel, it's working.
Tom, how did I know that was going to be the first call? Tom, it's not my fault that it's all over the news. Take it up with someone else. You could turn on any station right now. They're probably talking about it. They probably are. I will be curious to see what the ratings are for that interview, though. They got to be pretty good. I mean, $7 million. And every commercial that was running was like, I think they paid over $300,000 for the commercials. But according to them, Meghan and Harry did not make any money from this. Very curious. I don't know if I believe that. There's a lot of elements of these stories that aren't adding up to me. Guys, we're going to talk a little bit about this and a little bit about Andrew Cuomo on the other side. Do not go anywhere. 844-500-4242. This is The Grace Curley Show.
If you're thinking about a new RV this year, I've got 2 words of advice for you. Buy early. This is Howie Carr. With the popularity of camping growing and manufacturers' constraints, the earlier you shop, the better. Our friends at Cold Springs RV are ready for you. They have an indoor heated showroom and heated units outside for winter browsing. They are also ready to sell your current RV on consignment. Learn more at coldspringsrv.com or visit Cold Springs RV in Ware, New Hampshire.
Howie, have you ever heard the expression, if there's a nip in the air, the Irish will drink it?
No, but that does sound reasonable considering my Irish heritage.
Well, Howie, I have a big announcement. After 100 years, McConnell's Irish whiskey is returning to the U.S. Having left because of Prohibition, McConnell's is making its comeback for a new generation of whiskey enthusiasts.
I'll drink to that.
McConnell's Irish whiskey is the comeback spirit. When you take your first sip, you'll know some things are just worth the wait. Sláinte.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey everybody, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I can't tell you how many times in the past couple of months, somebody I know has told me a story.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
Somebody I know has told me a story about how they got it, and it all goes back every single time to some informal gathering where nobody wore masks, nobody kept their distance, and the virus spread.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world. But it's the only world they know.
I mean, it's pretty common at this point that that's where a big piece of this is coming from.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love. And to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives.
I don't want some jackass, loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it.
All right, here is the official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony! Hey, this guy's a great big phony!
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my. Yeah. Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio.
I expect this from Meghan Markle, but what is Prince Harry thinking? It is a dereliction of all loyalty to his country.
And to his family. I would love to be a fly on the wall of the Queen. I wonder if she watched it. I kind of feel like you have to watch something like that. But it's crazy because Meghan Markle goes from B-list actress to princess to now A-lister. You know, and keep in mind, she invited Oprah and George Clooney to their wedding, and I don't think she knew either of them that well. But now she's, friendly with them because of everything that's happened. So she's had a pretty good rise as far as fame goes. Think about Prince Harry. He goes from prince to a guy in a light gray suit, fidgeting with his wedding ring, looking terrified for his life if he says the wrong thing. I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. John, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Grace, I take the opposite of your previous caller. I was sitting down with my wife, and she goes, "Oh, let's watch the royal wedding." And I said, "No, I'm just going to let Grace tell me what happened. Why am I going to waste my time?"
John, and that's what I'm here for. I watch this garbage so you don't have to. And I will say there's interesting parts of it. I mean, I think sometimes people get so caught up in being frustrated that people do care about certain people, but the fact is that they do. I mean, this thing was trending all day yesterday on Twitter.
Well, the other tidbit that came out that she used to hold one of the boxes for that show. What was that? I didn't even know that.
Oh, Deal or No Deal. Yeah, she started off on a reality show.
Deal. Oh, I didn't know that either. It's awesome. This is good stuff, Grace. Keep it up.
Thank you, John. And I do find it interesting. I mean, we saw, you remember Wallace Simpson. We saw a divorcee, an American, kind of take down the royals one time, and this seems to be really, really tearing them apart. He talked about, let's play some of the cuts here before we move on from this. This was by far the biggest, shocking moment in the interview, and it came from Meghan Markle. This is cut 18.
So we have in tandem the conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title, and also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What?
And
who is having that conversation with you? What?
So,
there is a conversation. Hold up.
There's
Stop
several
right now.
There are several conversations.
There's a
about
conversation with you,
with Harry,
about how dark your baby is going to be,
potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
Ooh.
In those.
Now, Oprah, to her credit, asked Harry about this, and let's listen to that. This is cut 20.
So there was a conversation with you about Archie's skin tone. Mm-hmm. What was that conversation?
That conversation I'm never going to share.
This is my issue. It's $7 million interview. You say it's no holds bar. You're officially burning the bridge. London Bridge is falling down here. I mean, there is no way he's going to reconcile after this. And yet, he won't tell us who said it. Why? If it's Prince William, just say it's Prince William. And then there was the whole element of the flower girls and their dresses, which that one I couldn't even pretend to care about. I mean, when you're getting married, there's a lot of stressful components of it. People do bicker back and forth. It's kind of par for the course, even if you're royals or if you're not royals. And so to bring this up, and I saw, people on social media freaking out like, oh, it was Kate who made Meghan cry. No, it was Meghan who made... That's just, insanity. But Piers Morgan, he really is unafraid and he does not care. And it's personal for him because he's from Britain. And a lot of people here, for us, it's just, it's like a soap opera. But for them, they really care about this. So let's play a little bit of Piers Morgan here. I want to play cut 11.
I thought it was 2 hours of disingenuous, horrible, one-sided, self-serving, delusional claptrap.
And let's play the next cut, Jared.
I think it was the acting performance of her life. It was designed to portray her the ultimate victim. She even at one stage says that being imprisoned in a palace was somehow similar to what people are experiencing in the pandemic lockdown. Well, tell that to people living at the top of high-rise buildings with 3 kids, trying to homeschool them with no job to pay for their food on the table.
Yeah, comparisons are hard. And they're usually, I'm going to say 9.5 out of 10 times, they're not a good idea. And when people are struggling through a pandemic and you're sitting down with Oprah, maybe we don't do comparisons. Maybe we just leave those aside. And I think Pierce's prediction is exactly what I'm seeing, which is she's going to become a liberal hero. They're going to make tons of money and they're going to be beloved by all the people in LA. This is cut 13.
I think she's played us in the UK and the royal family as a bunch of mugs. I think she'll emerge as a heroine to the liberal crowd in America today, with the narrative of being a poor, vulnerable, massively misunderstood, biracial victim of a white racist monarchy and royal family.
And what he said later, he said, they ignited this race button. They pressed the race button and ignited it, and then they just backed away from it. Like, we can't say who said it. And that's something people deserve to know. If you're calling the monarchy racist, then put up or shut up. Tell them what they need to know. But I think one of the takes that's really aged pretty well is Trump's take on Meghan Markle and Prince Harry way back when. This is cut 9.
I'm not a fan of hers, and I would say this, and she probably has heard that, but I wish a lot of luck to Harry, because he's going to need it.
And I don't think that this is the last we're going to hear from them. I think they're going to keep coming back for more as far as publicity-wise. I don't think she ever really wanted to be a princess. I think she wanted, the status change that comes with it. But once it got real and she realized it was going to be day in, day out of basically going to a bunch of boring ribbon cutting ceremonies, she wanted no part in that. She wanted to be on the red carpet. She wanted to be with the A-listers. And that's what they're getting. That is what they're getting. I'll be kind of interested to see if anyone speaks out. I know the Queen won't. You got to think of the Queen, though, guys. And I promise after this we will move on. But I have to say, the Queen, whether or not you like the royals, they have their issues, Prince Andrew. But the Queen is a tough lady. She has been through more in her lifetime than most people would. She never really thought she was going to be the Queen in the first place. Her father never thought he was going to be the king. And I just think of her, sitting there with her tea and biscuits this morning going, good God, what is happening? What is this guy doing to us?
I told her not to have the second one.
And here's the thing. She's tough. She loves Harry. Prince William loves Harry. And if you ever followed them before, you would know that at one point, Kate, Will, and Harry were like the Three Musketeers. They did everything together. They did all those appearances together. They seemed to get along swimmingly. And now there's just such a divide. I don't think they're ever going to come back from it. And yeah, that's just it. I mean, I don't think there's much else left to say. Although I will say, I think it's telling that Prince Harry says he was trapped in a system, but he didn't know he was trapped until he met Meghan Markle. Usually, and Jared, correct me if I'm wrong, usually you meet somebody, and you say like, wow, I never knew how awesome life was until I met this person. But I don't hear a lot of people say, wow, I never knew how trapped I was until I met this person and they taught me how trapped I was. They taught me how bad my life as a prince was until I met them. It's weird, right?
It's absolutely weird. It's, I never realized how much of a terrible privileged system I was in until some American liberal wacko actress came by and freed me from this life by telling me stories of her liberal oppression and how terrible things are over here. So I'm going to simp for her forever and turn on my family and move to Los Angeles and eat vegan.
And go on James Corden's show and do interviews with Oprah. Yeah, no,
I get it. You're the spare. The heir and the spare. That's the old joke. You're the spare. You're not going to really be doing anything. You're going to be the Roger Clinton. You're going to be the Billy Carter. You're going to be that guy. So you kind of want to make your own mark, sure. But honestly, this girl's trouble. The girl's trouble, and you can see it coming a mile away. And what do you really get? There are plenty of other ways he could have gone about this without decrying his heritage, embarrassing the country, and basically throwing the equivalent of a temper tantrum on his way out the door.
And to your point, Jared, there are plenty of other royals who have, benefited from the titles and kind of done a lot of charity work and things like that, but have not taken such a big role in the royal family. They live outside of those the palace and other places, and they kind of do their own thing. There's a lot of people like that, but I don't think that's what they wanted. I don't think they ever wanted privacy. They wanted fame. And
yes.
And being a royal is not being, a celebrity. It's a very different life.
Exactly. That's why Prince Philip left his vampire family and went to the royal family.
Speaking of Prince Philip, he's still in the hospital. That's another element of this whole thing. Let's play here really quick. Cut 4. Oh, and I just want to add this in. And then on the other side, we got the poll question. We got a lot of other things to get to. But I want to add one other thing in. There's a lot of talk of racism in this interview and kind of implying that either the Queen or maybe William or someone in that family is racist. And I just have to say, out of all of those people, the person who's had the worst publicity as far as being racist was Prince Harry when he wore the Nazi shirt. And yet he's sitting there going, well, my family's not as educated as I am. Weren't you the party boy who was on the cover of all the tabloids because he had the shirt on with the swastika on the side? Am I wrong? I was still pretty young when that was happening, but I'm pretty sure that happened. Harry, ... And by the way, are we still going to call him Prince Harry, or is he just Harry now?
He's just Harry. That's it. No more Prince. No title, no anything.
Let's play that, Jared, with that one cut before we go. This is cut 21.
Prince Harry, raised in a palace, in a life of privilege, literally a prince, how you were trapped.
Trapped within the system, like the rest of my family are. My father and my brother, they are trapped. They don't get to leave.
Oh, gosh. The victimhood, I have to say. And once again, my final word on this is it's more on Harry than it is on Meghan. I know it's easier for people to kind of blame Meghan because she came into this and she's an actress and she's from America, and we've seen that before with the royal family. But I don't buy that. I think he knew very well what he was doing this whole time, and I think it's more calculated than they want to lead on, or they want to let us believe. Guys, hotels, vets, and dentists, they all have purchased multiple units of the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, which is why Eden Pure has done it again. For the first time ever, for our listeners only, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier 3-pack. I'm holding this up. You'll get 3 units for under $200 and save $200. One for your basement, first floor, and second floor, all in one purchase. You've heard Dr. Matt on Howie's show. He has a Thunderstorm. He also got one for his son's stinky cat, which, by the way, Jared, I would like to get this cat's name because it feels a little rude to be referring to him as Stinky Cat.
We'll just call him Harry.
Jared is not holding back. You better get ready. Royal Twitter is going to cancel you soon. Guys, if you've had enough, you can give... If you have enough, you can give a Thunderstorm to a loved one as a gift. With a 3-pack, you can now enjoy clean air everywhere in your house or workplace. It's been months now that we've been talking about the Thunderstorm air purifier. People still ask me if it really works. It does, and it works in hours. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier is so small, holding it in my hand so you guys can see it. You can plug it into the wall. It only takes up one outlet, which is great. Other air purifiers can cost up to $600 for just one unit, but the Eden Pure air purifier can handle pet, kitchen, or tobacco odors, or that damp smell lingering in your basement. Go to EdenPure.com, put in code word GRACE3 to save $200 for their special 3-pack. EdenPure.com, code word GRACE, and the number 3. Shipping is free. We'll be back on the other side, guys. I want to talk a little bit about Cuomo, more news on that, and just some sound to go through from this weekend. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
She's never held office, but she paid the whiskey priest's monthly rent once. She's Grace Curley.
Whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
You know, I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared. And a lot of young people are even suffering from, they're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
That curing cancer is going to be much more difficult when there's so much climate change and pollutants in the environment, because a lot of cancer is environmentally caused.
Recognizing and acknowledging the link between animal agriculture and climate change is a very bold move, making tonight plant-based.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
It's story time with Grace Curley. Tell me the story about the time you got pulled over by the police with Howie in the car.
Howie and I were going on a remote, and I was driving at the time the Howie Carr, which was Howie's face wrapped around this car. And a police officer pulled us over, and he was really just asking a lot of questions about the car. And then he said to me, "Do you know how fast you were going?" And I was like, I don't know, but I didn't think I was going that fast. Then he started talking to Howie, and Howie offered him a book. He said he couldn't take it, but he said he was a big fan. And then by the end of it, it became very clear to me that he had really just pulled us over because he was a fan of Howie and wanted to meet him. To this day, that is the only time I've been pulled over for speeding, and I was not speeding. So I blame Howie for that.
Catch all of Grace Curley's stories weekdays right before Howie from 12 to 3 on The Grace Curley Show. And follow Grace on Twitter at G_Curley.
Follow Grace on Twitter at G_Curley.
That's a part of the job. That's a part of the role. That's what's expected. No matter who you are in the family, no matter what's going on in your personal life, no matter what's just happened, if the bikes roll up and the car rolls up, you got to get dressed, you got to get in there, you wipe the tears away, shake off whatever you're thinking about, and you got to be on.
Yeah. And there's no question. I mean, everybody remembers when Princess Diana died and Harry had to walk behind the casket. I have no doubt that man has gone through some heavy, heavy stuff in his life. But I don't think it justifies throwing all these accusations out there because you guys wanted to step away from the royal life. They let you step away. They didn't want to pay your security, but why is it up to them to pay your security? You're talking to, Bob Iger from Disney about doing voiceover work. That's not their job anymore. And then to do this, it's just doubling down. It's just really, really, I don't know.
You're my older brother, and I love you. But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again, ever.
It's the best piece of advice from The Godfather. Don't ever take sides against the family, ever. My mom used to tell us that all the time. We'd like come back from playing basketball outside and, you know, you'd make fun of your sibling. And my mom would like get her finger pointed and she was, don't you ever. And we'd all be like, Mom, why do we have to bring in The Godfather into this? But it's true. You don't turn on your family. It doesn't matter if you're a prince or not. You don't turn on your family. And to do it in such a pompous way with Oprah, $7 million, they're sitting in that big backyard. And I guess they live in the same neighborhood as Oprah. It just, I don't think it is going to play as well as they were hoping. I don't think people are going to really come to their side on this. And now keep in mind, there will be a huge difference between how the American media reacts versus people in Britain. Because here, I think people are very much, yes, queen, like, yes, not queen. I mean, yes, Meghan Markle. Like, this is good for you. You're doing it. Screw them. But in Britain, a lot of people are not going to see it that way. And now the question is, will they react? I do not know. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier 3-pack. Just for our listeners, save $200 on the 3-pack. To order, go to EdenPure.com. Put in code word GRACE3. Jared, what is the poll question and what are the results thus far?
Will that be the last time Harry and Meghan talk about the royal family?
No, absolutely not. I mean, at this point, this is their moneymaker is talking about this. And that was, Jared, what are the results first before I go on another rant?
14% of the audience says indubitably. Well, 86% says bollocks.
Indubitably? That was another part of it. So the whole Kate wedding flower girl dress thing, if you guys even followed that, there was rumors in the press that Meghan had made Kate cry in the lead up to her wedding. And what Meghan said last night was, actually, Kate made me cry. And when all these stories came out 6 months later, she never corrected it. No one in the royal family ever stood up for me and put those rumors to rest. But I don't think, and again, I'm not an expert, but I don't think that's how the royals operate. I don't think they're the type to like call up the press and say, this tabloid story's false. Take it down. I know that's what Meghan and Harry are doing now, but I just don't think that's what they do regardless of the situation. So that was a little bit strange. You know what? I said we were going to move on, and we will in the next hour, but we might as well finish with a couple more of these cuts. Let's play Piers Morgan again, cut 10.
What about the behaviour of Harry and Meghan, who are spray gunning his family on global television as Philip lies in hospital? You might laugh. I don't think it's funny. I think it's piling hurt on the Queen, who is already suffering greatly from her husband's illness.
Piers Morgan taking on the world. One news program at a time. Guys, we'll be back with Andrew Cuomo news. Chris Cuomo's in trouble too, speaking of Fredo. We got a lot about that on the other side. This is the Grace Curley Show.
As this year of COVID draws to a close, it's time to make sure your portfolio is ready for whatever happens next. Kevin Frisbee and the team at Frisbee & Associates are ready to help you. It's called the 100-100 Challenge. If you have $100,000 saved for retirement and come in for that no-cost, no-obligation consultation, you'll walk out with $100 cash. That's right, $100 just to let Kevin do a portfolio x-ray and see what might be hiding in your current plan. Call now for your no-cost or obligation consultation, and you could walk out with $100 cash. Call 800-989-9100. That's 800-989-9100. Kevin is a true fiduciary. That means by law, he's always working in your best interest. And be sure and catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for a market review and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams. Call Kevin Frisbee today, 800-989-9100. That's 800-989-9100.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first Kinnick in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glenys the first woman in her family, in 1,000 generations, to be able to get the university.
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent?
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment. Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator.
I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean.
Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday.
I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck, thank you very much.
All right, it's crisp.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920 and not 2020.
Everyone knows I love coffee and I'm not giving it up. I know that it would keep me up from time to time, but no longer with Balance 7. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. When it does this, you'll feel better, and I sleep better. Often I'm asked to try products, and I can be very skeptical on their claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I didn't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wore on, because by sleeping better at night, it also gave me mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body. Balance 7 is also known for reducing acid reflux and heartburn as it did for the mailroom manager. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, you should give Balance 7 a try. Order the 8-ounce 12-pack supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie. You will save $10 and you'll also get free shipping. Balance7.com.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
The Democrat Party is so full of loonies, social justice warriors, progressives, whatever you want to call them, that sometimes certain moonbats get overlooked. So let's take this moment to shine the woke spotlight on Eric Swalwell.
You tweeted in support of a proposal of a Biden-Swalwell ticket.
Yeah, or Swalwell-Biden, Wolf. I'm open to entertaining both variations.
The president has a fixer. Innocent people don't have fixers.
Which part of
it hasn't been proved factual?
Well, Christopher Steele himself said it was not a finished work product, and everyone who analyzed it said.
Which part was not proved factual?
Are you serious?
Bodyguards have the same guns that I have to protect my family.
They're America's bodyguards, Tucker.
They're not. They're
Don't
yours.
denigrate them like that.
This is very similar to many of the witnesses we had in our Trump-Russia investigation. A number of times we would ask a witness a question, and they would take a timeout, consult with their lawyers for 5 to 10 minutes, and then come back, and we figured, you know what, we already know the answer.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
Hello, all the participants in tonight's event. We can overcome the deadly virus. We can reward work. We will reclaim our credibility. The pandemic, we need all our strength to persevere. Rural versus urban. America built of decency. I took it to instill public confidence in the vaccine. President-elect Harris took hers today for the same reason. Everybody is entitled to be treated with decency. All my colleagues I serve with in the House and the Senate up here. James Joyce was said to have told a friend. I understand they worry about their job.
She's the Boston Herald's wittiest wordsmith, the last woman standing at the Whiskey Priest. Once a very legitimate magazine that we definitely didn't make up named her the Michael Jordan of radio. Wait, don't you think we're laying it on a little thick here, Grace?
Just stick to the script.
Oh, okay. Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Grace Curley Show. If you're just tuning in, I hate to inform you, you missed my royal recap, but we'll continue with it throughout the course of the show. We do have to talk about bigger issues here. There's actual news happening, and I can't think of a better guest to have on a day like this than Chris Stigall. You can find him on Twitter at Chris Stigall, and you can listen to his podcast, which I really enjoyed, The Chris Stigall Show. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, I had so much more to say about Oprah, though.
I know.
Okay, if you want to do other stuff, fine.
So, Chris, I actually just listened to your last podcast where I believe the title was We'll Never Be Royals, and I skipped forward a little bit to get to the royal part, and I think I skipped over your entire segment because it was about a minute long talking about the interview last night.
Yeah, I actually led the day with that. It's to me, she wants to be the Duchess of BLM. Meghan does. That's basically what that was. That was a great big audition for BLM last night, in my opinion. I mean, don't you think, Grace? Every family has a Meghan Markle. I think every family has one.
And I'm assuming what you mean is, a partner who comes in, and it could be man or woman, who comes in and kind of turns the family against each other.
That's exactly right. It's not a gender thing. It's whoever it is, every family has one. The person marries into the family and then convinces that person that their family is no good and they need to leave the family and join them see the error of the family's ways and turns that person against the entire family.
Yeah.
There's one in every family.
But Chris, I feel blessed to say this, there's not one in my immediate family, and I just think the Irish Catholics in us, we would not allow it. If someone started up with that, we'd be like, nope, you're out of here. You're not coming to the swap this year.
I have one. I have this very thing happened in my family, and I'll just leave it at that. It was a woman, a second marriage for one of my relatives, and he just went lunatic. I mean, he was close to all of us, and she managed to convince him that every last one of us, including his kids from his first marriage, were all no good. And he started a new family and turned his back on every last one of us and has nothing to do with the one of us today because of her. And it's the craziest thing, but I've watched it. It's insane.
Well, Chris,
it can happen.
He probably didn't realize how trapped he was in your family, and now he realizes it.
Yeah, well, we didn't have any kind of butlers either. That's the other thing. At no point were there any kind of handmaids or people dressing us or anything like that. No.
All right, Chris, but I do want to ask you about some more serious stuff here. The bill, the COVID relief bill, I know that you follow this closely, and I got to say, pretty amazing that Joe Manchin said he wasn't going to pass this unless it was, a bipartisan support. It clearly was not. But Chris, I'm watching the local news last night, and I hear them giving an update on this, and they described it, and I'm paraphrasing, but they basically said, the politicians put their differences aside and came together to pass this COVID relief bill. And I'm thinking to myself, not one Republican voted for this.
You're right. Yeah, do you get the sense that Joe made? I wonder if do the people of West Virginia feel like suckers yet? I mean, when do the people of West Virginia wake up and say, okay, this guy's just played us like absolute fiddles? He promises time and again to be the guy that's not going to allow the Democrats to ride herd over the rest of them, and he does it anyway. He goes along with them every time, and he does the thing that he promised he wouldn't do, which was he wouldn't allow this to go forward without Republican buy-in. There was no Republican buy-in, to your point.
And Chris, to your point, I think the only people who probably feel more ridiculous than people who voted for Joe Manchin are the evangelicals who voted for Biden and now feel like, oh, he's not really holding up his end of the bargain with abortion. It's like, who could have seen this coming?
Yeah, I read a stat yesterday. I haven't done the math on it, but it sounds roughly correct. I mean, if you took this $1.9 trillion and spent it directly on the 330 million of us, men, women, and children in this country, that's something like $6,000 a piece that each of us would get if that went directly to us. But of course, we know it's not.
No, and I was reading something today that was, it was a liberal spin of trying to break it down so that you could really classify it all as COVID relief. And it said if you count government aid and school aid as part of the COVID relief, and I was thinking to myself, government aid, that's kind of a vague statement. That could be anything.
Yeah, I mean these schools, Grace. I mean my kids' schools are just now, as of this week, starting to flirt with opening for the kids that are literally failing. That's their criteria. This week, my public schools in my community are opening for the kids that are literally bombing out, and then they will start to slowly open in the next couple of weeks for everybody else. But mind you, they have been closed since the beginning of the year, spending nothing operationally. I mean, yes, the teachers' salaries and things. No physical buildings or structures have been open. They're all sitting on piles of cash. The school districts across the country are sitting on piles of cash, not to mention the first round of stimulus that was infused into a lot of the states and their systems, and now another round. I think you've got school districts across the country sitting on mountains of money, and I've heard of a couple of districts, not many, Naperville, Illinois being one, where they're actually issuing refund checks to some property tax payers because they're not spending the money. They're not using it. And boy, that would be a justifiable and smart use of people's taxpayer dollars. I think that's what a lot of school districts ought to do. Like, where's this money going? Where's it being spent? Because they're not spending it on teaching our kids in person.
And talk about squeaky wheel gets the grease. I mean, you're going to send the kids who are failing. How many good students are at home going, Mom, I really got to bomb this next test. I really want to get back into the school. I really want to see my friends. I really want to see my friends again, Mom. I'm just warning you, this is going to be a big F from me.
The thing parents are not talking about, my kids are good kids. They're smart kids. They're good students. They're all three. I have three of them, and they're so unenthused, uninspired, uninterested. And it's become such a joke. Teachers have a threshold they've got to meet, too. They can't just let their kids bomb out. So you know what they're doing now? This kind of joke hey, kids, turn in your stuff. And it becomes this kind of herding cats thing where, well, you didn't turn in your assignment from 2 weeks ago. Hurry up and turn it in. There's no deadlines. Everything's just kind of, it's this sort of amorphous, get everything in, and, everybody kind of gets an A. Everybody passes. Everybody,
it's like a pass-fail mentality. Like, you just have to reach the bare minimum.
It's awful. It's awful. So there's no standards. The kids know there's no standards, so there's no urgency, so there's no interest. It's a disaster. This will be... They'll write about this sometime as the lost, year or two, and it won't be good.
Speaking of disasters, Chris, you talk a lot about H.R. 1, the For the People Act. Tell the audience a little bit about that and why you think it is so terrible.
Well, federalizing our elections is something the Democrats want to do desperately. They love the idea of not requiring signature verification. They love the idea of mail-in ballots. Here I live in Pennsylvania. And here in Pennsylvania, our Secretary of State and our governor and our Supreme Court were role models for playing the system. That is the idea of doing away with signature verification, deadlines, and basically the collection of ballots outside of the supervisory role of a traditional election site, a polling place. Drop-off centers, drop-off locations, drop boxes.
Right.
I say that this bill, in effect, basically treats a ballot like a Domino's Pizza coupon in the mail. I mean, that's what they want to do. They want to treat our ballots like coupons you get in the mail. They want to, they want to federalize this. They want to decentralize it. The less verification, the bigger room for cheating. That's really what this boils down to. And they want to federalize it so states can't meddle in verifying and proving that you are who you say you are.
Right. I saw someone said the other day, people are having doubts about the security of our elections. Let's make it permanent. And I thought that's exactly what this bill is doing.
Yep. That's it. It is nothing more than, air mailing ballots. I don't know how they do it where you live, but, neighboring New Jersey, they just mail everybody a ballot. I know Nevada and several other states. Just if you're on the rolls, you get it. Have they purged the rolls of dead people? No. We just mail out ballots wherever they land. Whoever gets them, I'll collect them. You collect them. She collects them. Grab armfuls of them. Drop them off here. Drop them off there. It's chaos, and of course it's going to be rife with fraud. And when people can't supervise, and COVID was such a perfect storm for it. There was never a better opportunity for this to be sold and pitched. Oh, look, we did it. It worked. Huzzah. Hundreds of thousands of ballots being counted and handled. The chain of custody was a mess, and we used COVID and social distancing as a reason why. Well, and now President Asterisk is fumbling his way through a $1.9 trillion stimulus bill.
Yeah, he's so proud of it, too. Chris DeGaulle, you guys can catch his podcast at The Chris DeGaulle Show. One more question before you go, Chris. Thoughts on Andrew Cuomo? He came out on Sunday and said he is not resigning. All I could think was the song from Dreamgirls, I'm Not Going. And he is just putting up a fight. Do you think that it's the end of the road for him politically?
I don't know how it isn't, but I do want to know this. You're a very, very tough woman. I know this much about you, and I know this. I know that if I came up to you and I put my hands on you or tried to touch you or said something, harassing to you, and you called me on it, and I said, hey, that's just my culture. It's my way, Grace. That's just that you know me. I don't think that would, and appropriately, it shouldn't fly. I don't think in 2021 that's the way we tolerate people behaving. You're not allowed to get away with that anymore.
No, I totally agree. And I think that these women, most of whom worked underneath him, he was their boss, they're so credible and they're so strong and they're coming out and they're telling their stories. And I'm just amazed that I heard the Senate leader the state Senate leader in New York say, if we get one more woman, then he should resign. It's like, wait a second, the first three weren't good enough. Like, these are credible women who all worked for him. They were in a really tough position. And I'm just glad that they're speaking out and they're holding his feet to the fire. But like you said, I don't think he's going to go anywhere himself. I think they used to talk about Trump. They'd say they're going to have to drag him out of there. I think they're going to have to drag Cuomo out of there.
I think you're right, but if he's allowed to stay, every woman who takes issue with this or brings it to light in the future, he's the standard, and his standard is, hey, it's my culture, it's my way, everybody knows me, it's what I do. Well, hey, is this Mad Men? Is it 1960? I mean, because that's what guys used to do, too, slap women on the butt and say, hey, sweetheart, go fetch me a drink. I mean, we don't do that anymore. That's not considered okay anymore. We've learned we don't do that.
Chris, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just to your point, one of the cuts that I played last week, he was saying, oh, that's just my culture. You know, that's how I greet people. Just last week, I was with a bunch of, I think he was with a pastor or a clergyman or something, and I was hugging him, and I'm thinking, forget about the inappropriateness of it all. What about COVID? What about the social distancing?
Yeah, he outed himself as not adhering to his own rules. That's exactly right. Great catch.
Follow the science, Andy. Chris DeGaulle, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone should follow you at Chris DeGaulle. You guys can read his stuff at Town Hall and definitely listen to his podcast. They're usually like an hour or an hour and a half long. They're so funny and really easy to listen to on your morning drive-in, so make sure you do that. Thank you for joining the show, Chris.
You're nice to invite me. Thank you, Grace.
All right, guys, if you haven't tried Super Beats Heart Chews, you are missing out. I don't want to reveal this and let the whole office know, but I actually found a stash of Super Beats in this office, Jared.
Don't be holding out.
I'm holding out. I already had one this morning. This bag is empty, but I got a full bag somewhere in this office. I love my Super Beats Heart Chews. They combine non-GMO beets with a powerful new ingredient, grapeseed extract. The grapeseed extract is used in Super Beats, and it's been clinically shown to be 2 times as effective at supporting normal blood pressure as a healthy lifestyle alone. Better blood pressure means more energy, the way nature intended, without the jittery caffeine or stimulants. I am guilty of, getting a little bit of a slump in the afternoon, going for that second cup of coffee, and it just doesn't do it. It makes you kind of anxious and on edge. You want to go for a delicious Super Beats. They're pre-wrapped. You can have them anytime, anywhere, and they taste great. Do what I did. Support your heart health with delicious Super Beats Chews. Get your Super Beats Chews today at getsuperbeats.com/grace. When you buy 2 bags, they'll throw in a third for free. And that third comes in handy when the office eats the first 2 bags and you save the third bag in a secret hiding spot. That's getsuperbeats.com/grace. getsuperbeats.com/grace. I see you guys on the lines. We'll take your calls in the next segment. And for the rest of the show, 844-500-4242. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You're listening to The Grace Curley Show. This is Charlie Baker.
Hey everybody, Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I got a text message the other day from a friend of mine who is no fan of most of what I've done over the course of the past 10 months.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he was texting me from the hospital during a moment when he wasn't on a machine. And he got it at an event where no one wore masks. And he said, now that I have it, I get how brutal this can be.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world, but it's the only world they know.
And honestly, I'm scared to death, not just for me, but for my family.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
It's story time with Grace Curley. What do you think was the funniest moment of the Howie Carr Show?
The funniest moment of the Howie Carr Show, for me, was when we were doing the death pool and someone called up and Howie said, "You're next on the Howie Carr Show. Who do you want for the death pool?" And the person said, "Howie Carr." And Howie said, "Yep, that's me. Okay, who do you want for the death pool?" And the person said, "Howie Carr." And Howie again said, "That's my name." And I was just back here crying, laughing in the green room, just realizing that this person was trying to put Howie in the death pool, and he just didn't understand what was happening. And then finally, when he figured it out, he said, "That plays, put it on the list." And it was just, I don't know, I still think about that sometimes.
Catch all of Grace Curley's stories weekdays right before Howie from 12 to 3 on The Grace Curley Show. And follow Grace on Twitter at @G_Curley.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
Grace Curley. She's here for the love.
Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Is this your way of saying, I'm certainly not resigning?
Yeah. Dave, look, some politicians will always play politics, right? That's the nature of the beast. I don't think today is a day for politics. I wasn't elected by politicians. I was elected by the people of the state of New York. I'm not going to resign.
He's not going to resign. That's Governor Andrew Cuomo. And he's had two more women step forward and accuse him of sexual harassment. This story is really, it's not looking good for Andy. He's as arrogant as ever. And I do have to say, all I can think of every time he comes forward and says he's not resigning is one of my old school favorite musicals, Dreamgirls. And I want to play this so everyone can remember it. This is a famous song from Dreamgirls, and I think it works very well for Andrew Cuomo. This is cut 24.
And I am telling you, I'm not going.
He's not going anywhere, okay? Fredo himself is going to have to walk into that office in Albany and pull him out of there, and he's going to have his box of Bill Clinton cigars held tightly to his chest. And he's going to say, no, never. He's not happy about this. Before we get into more Andrew Cuomo news, and there is a lot, State Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart Cousins is calling for him to resign, and more people are calling for him to resign. Before we get to all that, though, today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier 3-pack. Just for our listeners, save $200 on the 3-pack. To order, go to EdenPure.com and put in code word GRACE3. Jared Diglio, what is the poll question, and what are the results thus far?
Will that be the last time that Harry and Meghan talk about the royal family?
Absolutely not.
90% of the audience says bollocks.
I will say I was impressed that Trump's name didn't seem to come up at all. I thought for sure that Trump would be mentioned. In fact, I was having lunch with my family, and my dad said at the table, what are the odds that they talk about Donald Trump? And we all said 50-50. It's a 50-50 shot. But they didn't. They restrained themselves, and they decided to keep all their bashing in the family. The classy folks that they are. Beth, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Go ahead, Beth.
Hi, Grace. I'm sorry to walk you backward, but I just want to make a quick comment about Harry and Meghan.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
The British royal family is part of British culture, and my family is Canadian. And the Canadian government is a parliamentary monarchy, which means the Queen is actually the ultimate head of the government. If the Parliament in Canada can't get its act together and there's a serious issue at hand, the Queen gets to step in and have the final word. And if the Queen is removed, it's simply a plain Parliament, and it removes an entire part of British culture. I mean, that's the destruction. Them running around saying that the British monarchy are a bunch of racists, which is total bollocks. And Harry should know that, because his own mother, when she was still married to Prince Charles, would go to all sorts of parts of Africa to try to help people, which are predominantly black, with all kinds of problems that they had that had nothing to do with the British monarchy, including getting rid of landmines. The British monarchy has been concerned with the welfare of people all over the world. And in fact, they didn't have to have a civil war to get rid of slavery. They voted it out of existence. And when they did, and Jamaica was one of their colonies, they just went to all the people in Jamaica, no matter what color they were, and they said, you're now part of the British monarchy. You have to follow the same rules as everybody else, but you also have the same rights. The British gave us the Magna Carta and English common law, which gives us the right to face our accuser and all kinds of rights that we enjoy now. And countries that never had that have been a mess, like Germany, for example, which brought us into 2 world wars, has never had that kind of a system. And so, we should be very, very careful when we think that it's okay, and I'm sure that Meghan is just a tool because she's not that bright, but her husband should know better than to try to destroy something that actually upholds British culture. Because when that culture is gone, that's going to be a really sad day, not just for Great Britain, but for the rest of the world.
Beth, that was beautifully said. I feel like I brought you on as a guest. I'm glad you brought that perspective to it. I totally agree. I think it's more serious than a lot of people would think. I appreciate the call, Beth. Call back whenever you want. 844-500-4242. We're going to go through this COVID bill and a little bit of Cuomo Brothers. The comedy routine has come to an end in a big way. This is The Grace Curley Show.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, a 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
If you're thinking about a new RV this year, I've got 2 words of advice for you. Buy early. This is Howie Carr. With the popularity of camping growing and manufacturers' constraints, the earlier you shop, the better. Our friends at Cold Springs RV are ready for you. They have an indoor heated showroom and heated units outside for winter browsing. They are also ready to sell your current RV on consignment. Learn more at coldspringsrv.com or visit Cold Springs RV in Ware, New Hampshire.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie. The Democrat Party is so full of loonies, social justice warriors, progressives, whatever you want to call them, that sometimes certain moonbats get overlooked. So let's take this moment to shine the woke spotlight on crazy Mazie Hirono.
I am not going to be a fool to Mitch McConnell's shenanigans. Why should any of us? And it's not just a dog whistle, it's a bullhorn. Bullhorns. It's racism. It's basically, for many people, it's anti-Semitic. It's white supremacy.
Why not take a stand and vote yes for it? Seems like you're trying to have it both ways, not be hung by it politically, but also not say that you don't support it.
I disagree with you, Katie, that why should we engage in the kind of sham shenanigans that Mitch McConnell is really good at? I'm confused. This was just a sham. Guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country, and I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up. I think the noose is closing, and, Giuliani is like a loose cannon, and so is the president, frankly.
You guys have heard me talk about super beats for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why super beats? You can take it from me. The benefits of super beats are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon, when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a super beat and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind super beats? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Grace Curley Show. I thank you guys so much for joining us today and every day. A new report out says Cuomo's pandemic memoir was bought in a massive 7-figure deal. Reporting is still not exactly clear, but the talk among sources familiar with the deal are saying that the book sold for at least low to mid 7 figures, which is a blockbuster sum by industry standards. I just have to say, as far as that book goes, I would love to see where all those books are now. Because people did buy it, I'm sure. And they put it on their coffee tables. And then, they awkwardly slinked into their living rooms one day and grabbed the book and kind of put it aside or stuck it in a drawer. But all those books, man, they're going to be like Dr. Seuss. I don't think they're going to get much reading anymore. But guys, we do have to talk a lot about Andrew Cuomo here because there are 2 more accusers now saying that Andrew Cuomo sexually harassed them. That includes Anna Liss and Karen Hinton. They're accusing him of untoward behavior, including one of them says that he put his hand on their lower back, and I think he kissed one of their hands. And people are wondering if he's going to resign. He says no. And I think something that's so important to remember in all of this, and I realize that I'm saying it over and over again, but it's important, is that the media is guilty in all of this as well. They're using this sexual harassment scandal to pretend that they're on board with this and that, they have a good sense of what is right versus what is wrong. They covered for this guy in an incredible fashion. They had Andrew Cuomo's back like nobody else. They made it possible for Andy Cuomo to become, America's boyfriend and, the most eligible governor in America and part of the Fredo, Chris Cuomo, Smothers Brothers variety hour. They're to blame here. And if you need any proof, I would like you to listen to this cringe-worthy compilation. This was Good Morning America's Amy Robach. And she was interviewing Andrew Cuomo in his heyday a few months ago when he was on top of the world. Listen to this supercut, cut 1.
In one word, can you describe the past 100 days?
Hell. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can. I think that's fair. What still keeps you up at night? You've been commended for your clear and your calm leadership. People from all over the country and the world have tuned into your press conferences. Your statewide approval rating, a career high 84%. You came in second only to President Obama as the most trusted Democratic leader in America. How do you intend on spending that political capital that you've earned? If you had to give President Trump a grade on how he's handled this pandemic, what would you give him? What grade would you give yourself? You've said that you have no political aspirations beyond the job you're in right now.
Right.
A lot of people are asking why. Why not think about something grander, bigger, presidential? Would you accept a cabinet position in a Biden administration?
No.
That was a quick no.
Nope.
Why not? I know that you've been portrayed as some sort of a homecoming king of this crisis, and a headline from Jezebel Help, I think I'm in love with Andrew Cuomo. The New York Post dubbed you the new Love Gov. Chelsea Handler wrote you a love letter essay in Vogue entitled Dear Andrew Cuomo, I Want to Be Your First Lady. Your reaction to all of that, your daughter's reaction to all of that, when are you going to hug your mom again?
It's a very powerful interview, and he is no holds barred. He says exactly what he's thinking. As you know, that's his style.
You can see that, and you ask the tough questions. I tell you that much as well.
You ask the tough questions, Amy. Everybody loves you. How do you respond to everybody loving you so much? Because you're so damn lovable. Do you feel love? Do you feel the love in this room? That is really, really gross. These are our reporters. This is the state of journalism in America. That's all they do. They kiss the behinds of these Democrats until it no longer suits their narrative. And then they kick them down the stairs. Probably shouldn't say that in front of Chris Cuomo, because I know that's one of his, favorite threats against hecklers. Speaking of Chris Cuomo, though, he did not want to sit back and let Andrew Cuomo get all the bad press, okay? They go through the good times together, and they go through the bad times together. So Chris Cuomo decided, and I'm sure that he's got that nervous energy right now every time he gets behind a mic, because he knows that people are actually watching now, and they're waiting to see what he says, and they're waiting for a slip up. And boy, oh boy, did he give them one. This is Chris Cuomo. So if you guys aren't familiar with the program, which I believe is called Prime Time with Cuomo or something like that, how it usually works is he hands it off to Don Lemon at the end of his segment, and they have a little back and forth. It's kind of like the car crossover, except for, it's Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo, and they're virtue signaling and telling each other how wonderful they are. So they're doing their crossover, and Chris Cuomo starts singing the theme song to the 1970s TV show Good Times. That's when things went downhill. This is cut 7.
Just looking out of the window, watching the asphalt grow, thinking how it all looks hand-me-down.
How do you know the words to Good Times?
You know I'm black on the inside.
Jared.
Whoops.
Is that a microaggression? Feels like one. If I said that on the air, oh my God.
So much to unpack there.
Now, my next question, Jared, because, for all of those of you who don't know this, Jared has to pull the sound, Jared and Matt. And I thank them for that, because having to pull Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo, especially when Chris Cuomo is singing, is not something I'm interested in. My question for you is, did Don Lemon follow up with that? Did he break down maybe what that means? Chris Cuomo's black on the inside. What does that mean racially? What are the consequences of that kind of statement?
Nope. Not at all.
Did
Don Lemon
flinch?
didn't say anything. And then Chris Cuomo started talking about Florida and how well educated she was, kind of Biden style.
Speaking of Joe Biden, thank you for that segue, Jared. There is a COVID relief bill. And again, all of this helps Andrew Cuomo, whether it's Meghan and Harry. I was talking to Jack Heath today from New Hampshire, and he said to me, no one is more happy about this Meghan and Harry interview than Andrew Cuomo. It gets him at least, he's still on the front cover of the New York Post website, but he's like the third square down. He's not the main square, which I'm sure he's happy with. But another thing that gets him off the front cover is this COVID relief bill. Like I said in our last segment, it did not have bipartisan support at all. Not one Republican voted for it. But they're moving on with it anyway. And Joe Biden, our president, is here to explain some of that bill to us. I believe this is cut 28, Jared. It's on the lower end of the cut sheet.
Vast majority of economists, left, right, and center, from Wall Street to the private economic polling initiatives.
Let me quote you on that, sir.
Whoever has to transcribe this stuff should be getting double time, because that is brutal. And I just want to read you guys some of the headlines. So people will get a stimulus check if they're below a certain pay rate. And, Trump gave people stimulus checks too. And I remember the uproar when Trump sent these out. So I'm going to read you 2 headlines from the Washington Post. See if you can sense any sort of difference. This is like English class when your teacher would say, let's find if this is objective or subjective, if there's any tone of bias in this headline. First headline, Biden stimulus showers money on Americans, sharply cutting poverty in defining move of presidency. I'm going to take you back now to a little while ago in a different world before Biden's America came to creation. This is also the Washington Post. In unprecedented move, Trump administration orders president's name to be printed on millions of American stimulus checks. I remember those stimulus checks. Were they bigger than the ones we're getting now? Jared?
I think they were actually. I think those were 1,200.
1,200. So these ones are bigger.
I think Gentleman Joe is being a little more generous.
But
with our money?
Is he printing his name on them? Because that's all I care about. When I get a check, that's the only thing I care about. In fact, I'm wondering if any of the people who got the original 1,200 stimulus checks from Trump with his name on them, if they ripped them up.
Oh, I'm sure they did not cash their checks from Not My President.
Because it's the principle of it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's not about the money. It's about the principle. And other headlines here from CNN. With COVID relief and stimulus checks in sight, Biden asks for faith in U.S. democracy. Biden thanks American people after Congress passes $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief bill. It's just, even for the media, this coverage is just slobbering. And I need you guys to hear, if you haven't seen this guy, this guy's name is Ben. He's a young Democrat voter, and he's having some second thoughts. He's having some not buyer's remorse. He's having voter's remorse. And listen to this cut. This is someone from CNN went over, and this happens a lot to them. They ask somebody a question. They're hoping it's a flaming liberal so they can, really prove their point. But sometimes they get a Republican. This is cut 16.
Young Democrats like Ben see a lot of promises unkept.
They're putting that stimulus check on the back burner. They're putting the minimum wage hike on the back burner. And they're dropping bombs in Syria right now. And those bombs are kind of expensive for a dude who owes me $2,000.
I love describing Joe Biden that way. A dude who owes you $2,000. I saw something online and it said, how do I explain to my landlord that my rent check is really between him and the president and that he should stop calling me about it? But it seems like these will be going out, and we'll talk more about that on the other side. We also have some news about schools reopening and COVID-19. Chris DeGaulle pointed out in one of his podcasts that people's patience is wearing very thin. We are at a breaking point, and I'm curious if you guys feel that way too. If you've been noticing a change at all in the air lately due to some of these restrictions being lifted, Connecticut's opening up, Texas and obviously Mississippi are opening up. And there's rumors that New Hampshire might be next. So we will see. 844-500-4242. Guys, I got to tell you, we're going to take a lot of calls on the other side. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back. This is The Grace Curley Show.
Follow Grace on Twitter at @G_Curly.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
You guys have heard me talk about super beats for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why super beats? You can take it from me. The benefits of super beats are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon, when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
She's the friend you never knew you needed.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yup.
Okay, make that best friend. It's Grace Curley.
Guys, I know people say there's no such thing as a free lunch, but trust me, that is fake news. Because with my friends at Aviva Trattoria, we'll be giving away a free lunch every other Friday here at the studio. I gave it away this past Friday, so our VIPs will be coming in this Friday, and I can't wait because they're going to have a delicious spread from Aviva. Jared, I don't know if you've put in your orders yet, but I've already requested the arancini balls, which you know I love, and I might mix it up and get a little bit of chicken parm.
I have decided I'm going to branch out from the farmhouse pizza, which I love, and I'm actually going to try their Italian sandwich, which has the nice Italian meats on it.
Very, very good. Guys, if you want to enter to win the VIP spots, by the way, a lot of people ask me, they say, you know, can I just buy one? Right now, we're only doing this contest, so your best bet is to go to gracecurleyshow.com and sign up. Also, make sure you check out Aviva Trattoria. They run so many great specials during the week. They have everything you'd ever want: seafood, homemade pasta, burgers. They got it covered. They have 4 convenient locations in Marlborough, Maynard, Wrentham, and Westford, and takeout is available too. To enter to win the Aviva VIP lunch, go to gracecurleyshow.com. That's gracecurleyshow.com. I want to talk a little bit here in this short segment about the future of the GOP, because something interesting happened this weekend. Donald Trump sent a legal notice to the GOP to stop using his name. And I kind of love this because the first thing I loved that Trump did when he left the White House was when Nikki Haley asked for a meeting at Mar-a-Lago, he flat out rejected her. And I thought, gold star, A+, we're on the right path. Because I think that if Trump were to run again in 2024, his biggest mistake in the past that he could learn from and would really be unstoppable if he did learn from would be to just bring in the real Republicans, to have an entire cabinet full of Corey Lewandowskis and, you know, guys and women who really believe his agenda and don't just go along with it so they can get a spot and go, you know, be in the Beltway of DC. He needs to bring in real Republicans, real Trump Republicans. And it was interesting because Lindsey Graham was on HBO, Axios on HBO. And let's listen to a couple of the cuts he said. This is cut 4.
Donald Trump was my friend before the riot,
and I'm trying to keep a relationship with him after the riot. I still consider him a friend. What happened was a dark day in American history, and we're going to move forward. So here's what you need to know about me. I want this to continue. I want us to continue the policies that I think will make America strong. I believe the best way for the Republican Party to do that is with Trump, not without Trump.
Okay, so I got to ask this. Obviously, Lindsey Graham is not as, insane as Mitch McConnell, because what Mitch McConnell did was political suicide by turning on Trump. And Lindsey Graham knows better than that. But Jared, my question to you, because I know my answer, do you trust Lindsey Graham?
Absolutely not.
I don't either. And I don't buy it, really. I think he's smarter than Mitch, but I don't buy that he really thinks any of the things he's saying about Trump. I think he knows that's his only saving grace. But I think if everyone had gone with Mitch McConnell, if the general Trump population had decided after January 6th that they were going to turn on Trump, Lindsey Graham would have been for it. Let's play another cut from him. This is cut 5.
What's hard is to take a movement that I think is good for the country, try to get the leader of the movement, who has got lots of problems facing him and the party, and see if we can make a go of it. Mitt Romney didn't do it. John McCain didn't do it. There's something about Trump. There's a dark side and there's some magic there. And what I'm trying to do is just harness the magic.
That I don't disagree with. I think that there was a common theme with Mitt Romney and with John McCain, and that common theme was they both lost. And for a lot of these Republicans, when Trump won, they realized, all right, so people can stomach a little bit more of the ugly side of politics than we give them credit for. Everybody always thinks like, oh, you're going to lose the evangelicals, or oh, you're going to lose the suburban women. But a lot of people are realistic about politics in 2021, and they were in 2016. And they say, a couple mean tweets, my 401k is going up, the gas prices look good, I'll be fine. And Lindsey Graham realized that too, because you can want someone who's presidential all day long. But if you want someone who's a Republican and who's presidential, you also just have to know they're never going to win. That's just not going to happen. Because you got to be a fighter against this press. You're not just going up against another Democrat. You're going up against your Democratic opponent. You're going up against the mainstream media. You're going up against big tech, liberal elites. You're going up against everybody. And so it's nice to be classy and it's nice to be nice, but that doesn't always translate. Let's play this last cut 6.
To me, Donald Trump is sort of a cross between Jesse Helms, Ronald Reagan, and P.T. Barnum. I mean, it's just this bigger than life deal. He could make the Republican Party something that nobody else I know could make it. It could make it bigger. He could make it stronger. He could make it more diverse. And he also could destroy it.
It's absolutely true. I think he's decided he won't destroy it. He might rearrange it a little bit, dismantle it, and then put it back together. But as much as I don't trust Lindsey Graham, I think all those comments are pretty dead on. Guys, when we get back on the other side, we're going to be talking more about this COVID relief bill and also about voter remorse. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
Between the news, appointment TV, and endless scrolling on our phones, we're looking at screens more than ever. But how do you rest your eyes without feeling totally unplugged? By putting in a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds and listening to something great. Whether you're listening to your favorite podcast, binging an audiobook, or working out to a pumped-up playlist, Raycons are built to perform anywhere and anytime. With water and sweat-resistant construction and seamless Bluetooth pairing. There are no dangling wires or white stems to worry about. Raycons offer a comfortable in-ear fit for a more discreet look in a variety of colorways for maximum style. And with 6 hours of playtime, you can unplug for a while. The best part? Raycon wireless earbuds start at half the price of the other premium audio brands. So you can pick up a pair and a spare. Right now, get 15% off Raycons at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buy, B-U-Y, Raycon.com/Howie for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey everybody, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I may not make it through this story, and I told a story about a fisherman that I met in New Bedford. He's coming off the boat. He's a big, huge man, completely soaked in sweat and salt water.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he started to cry, and I gave him a hug. He was a big, huge guy. It was like hugging a mountain. And then he said, "See those two kids up there?" And he said, "Those are my sons." They were both spectacular football players at New Bedford High School who were given college scholarships, and I ruined their lives. And you hear those kinds of stories every day.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton.
There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book. I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper.
If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke.
A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
Everyone knows I love coffee and I'm not giving it up. I know that it would keep me up from time to time, but no longer with Balance 7. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. When it does this, you'll feel better, and I sleep better. Often I'm asked to try products, and I could be very skeptical on their claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I didn't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wore on, because by sleeping better at night, it also gave me mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body. Balance 7 is also known for reducing acid reflux and heartburn as it did for the mailroom manager. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, you should give Balance 7 a try. Order the 8-ounce 12-pack supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie. You will save $10 and you'll also get free shipping. Balance7.com.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beats for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beats? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beats are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beat and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beats? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beats has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeatsradio.com to find out more about Super Beats. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeatsradio.com. www.superbeatsradio.com.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president of the next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall. Anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon.
We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Chris.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920 and not 2020.
What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy?
The Constitution does not say that a person can shout wolf in a crowded theater.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. Chocolate, candy, chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. Consistently practice social distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leadership?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
What do you think is causing this erratic behavior?
I think that the president has always had erratic behavior. I have ice cream in my freezer. I guess that's better than having Lysol in somebody's lungs. Civilization as we know it is at stake. I don't drink, but I'm happy to have ice cream with anybody anytime.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman. Did you have tanning lotion on, Joy? A little. I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General.
She's the Boston Herald's wittiest wordsmith, the last woman standing at the Whiskey Priest. Once a very legitimate magazine that we definitely didn't make up named her the Michael Jordan of radio. Wait, don't you think we're laying it on a little thick here, Grace?
Just stick to the script.
Oh, okay. Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Grace Curley Show. We've already covered so much on this lovely Monday afternoon, but there's more to get to. Greta Thunberg is weighing in on climate change, and I am going to talk about how the Greta Thunbergs of the world are not thrilled with the job Joe Biden has done up to this point. But before I get to that, I'd like to open the lines here and talk a little bit about the CDC announcing guidelines for fully vaccinated people. Now, if you do not subscribe to the cult of COVID panic porn, then you probably already knew the guidelines, which were if you're fully vaccinated, it's over. You can do what you want. But some of you out there might be followers of, let's say, CNN. And if you do follow CNN, or more specifically, CNN Breaking News, you would see a statement like this and think it's totally normal. The CDC releases guidelines giving limited freedoms to people fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Here are the rules to keep following. Jared, you know what sound cut I'm going to ask for. How about no? Limited freedoms? What world are we in?
No?
How about no? How about you get vaccinated? That's it. That's it. That's it. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. CDC announces guidelines for fully vaccinated people. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention is now advising that people who are fully vaccinated against COVID-19 can gather indoors with others who have the jab without masks or social distancing. Dr. Rochelle Walensky, you guys have probably seen her a lot on the news. She's the head of the CDC, said that fully vaccinated people can follow the looser guidelines about 2 weeks after their final shot. So what does this mean if you have a friend or you and a family member are both vaccinated? You can have dinner together wearing masks without distancing. You can visit your grandparents if you have been vaccinated and they have been too. I don't understand why the CDC thinks anyone's listening to them anymore. And I also don't understand how people aren't more aware of this blatant shift. Like, they were ready to have us locked down, masked up, 6 feet apart till 2025. They were absolutely ready for that. The only thing they didn't count on was states like Texas and Mississippi and now Connecticut saying, no, enough's enough. Kind of being the adults in the country and saying, you've had your fun, you know, you drew all over the cabinets, you threw your tantrum, you ate your ice cream. We're stopping this here. The adults are back in the room. We're opening up. They did not count on that. So now between Biden and Fauci and the CDC and the WHO, talk about people who have been wrong on every single thing their entire lives. I really do think sometimes to myself, who has had worse takes, Biden or Fauci? Biden was wrong on Osama bin Laden. He didn't want them to do that raid. That was one of his great takes. And Dr. Fauci's been wrong on masks and everything. But all of these people are now trying to switch gears because they know that the dam has broken and everyone is going to start to do what they want. And they'd rather have the appearance of being on that side of things where it's like, well, yep, we told you, you waited, and now we're giving you the carrot. Good, congratulations. So that's what they're trying to do. But in some places, it's still, because if your citizens are followers of the science, their pseudoscience that they like at this point, they're fine wearing 2 masks. So in New York and places like that, there's a lot of people there that are still down for this. And it's become kind of have you noticed that, Jared? It's become like a ritual for people. Like, I was walking around Target the other day and I had my mask. It was kind of one of those masks that didn't really fit properly. It was slipping a little bit. And I was almost convinced a lot of people were about to say something to me. Not the store people. Not the people who worked at Target. The regular people there. Because it's become this virtue signaling way of boosting yourself up when you see someone not following the rules. It's like the kid in school who becomes the hall monitor for the day and it goes right to his head. He starts walking around like he's the chief of police.
Right, and that's what people are missing about this, the states that are opening up. They're not saying don't wear masks, masks don't work, don't blah. They're just saying, look, do what you want to do. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. And you know, some people have commented on the text line, yes, I am dealing with a medical thing right now, so I am wearing a mask for my own protection. It's not COVID related. But that's a choice that I'm making.
And that's fine.
And that's all it is. Yes. That's all it is. It's a choice of whether to wear a mask or to not wear a mask. You have the freedom to do that. And that's all this is. It's not denying science. It's giving people the responsibility to do what they want to do.
Well, what you sound like right now, if I'm going to be totally honest with you, is a Neanderthal.
I do sound like a Neanderthal. Ook, ook, eat brain.
I'm reading now from Carol Markowitz's latest piece in the New York Post. It's titled, Texas Shows the Way on COVID Rationality. And I enjoyed a particular line of this, but I'll give you guys the lead up. She said, red Mississippi, Florida, and Texas are getting slammed in the prestige press, even as hardline blue states like New York and California have done a far worse job mitigating COVID-19. As for mask mandates, if these are going to become a semi-permanent feature of our life and our societies, then we need to have a rational, open discussion about that. My 2 cents? No. Hell no. Meanwhile, their high-handed imposition has decimated common sense, empowered busybodies, and promoted irrational behaviors like widespread outdoor masking. And I just want to say, for the record, 2020 and a little bit of 2021 has been the year of the busybody. The Karens have had a banner year. And I don't know if we'll ever talk them down from this. They are so empowered. They are so righteous. And they are so angry. And I just don't know if that's going to stop. Now, a lot of people want the schools to reopen. That's the next logical step. But again, there's only limited freedoms here. So we have to wait on that. But let's hear what Rand Paul had to say. This is cut 3.
The scientific evidence has been overwhelming, not only now, but for months, that kids should be back in school. Even the most cautious of government experts is saying they should go back to school. Around the world, kids have been in-person learning for 9, 10 months. Sometimes, some of them never interrupted in-person schooling, without surges or without outbreaks.
And it's amazing because for these kids who have not gone back to school, I talked a little bit about this with Howie last week, but it's hard for anyone to stay on track when you get derailed. If you get, if you get laid off, for example, and you start sitting on the couch every day, it's easy to fall into a slump. And the longer you're in the slump, the harder it is to break out of that slump. And when you're a kid, it's even harder because you don't have that self-discipline. So a lot of these kids are falling behind. And we had Chris DeGaulle on, and he said the teachers are just kind of, letting them hand things in whenever they want. And just, it's become almost like a pass-fail type thing. And the effect that it's going to have on these kids' education is one thing, but their mental health is a whole nother story. I want to hear what you guys think. Are you feeling hopeful? Are we going into a spring and a summer that you think is going to be wide open? I know people are at their breaking point. I know people want to open, but it does seem to come down to, are people just going to start taking off the masks and going into the stores regardless? And I'm not saying that's the move, but I'm saying that I don't really understand how else this is going to happen. Because if we keep getting messages like CDC is giving limited freedoms, I didn't know that we were waiting on the CDC to give us any freedoms, let alone limited ones. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you think this summer is going to be another summer of love? Are we going to open up? Or are we going to have our freedoms, however limited they might be? Or does this keep going? Is this going to keep going forever? 844-500-4242. I see you guys already lining up. We will talk about that. And when we get back, we'll take your calls. I got to let you guys know, though, before we go, hotels, vets, and dentists, those are all different groups and businesses, but they've all purchased multiple units of the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, and here's why. This little machine, it's small. I'm holding it up for the YouTube. It is small, but it's powerful, and it's easy to use, and it's very cost efficient. You don't have to buy air filters. It's not massive. It doesn't take up a ton of space, and it works. Whether it's, a damp smell in your basement, whether it's a wet dog smell or tobacco, this thing is going to kill that smell. And Jared, you describe what it leaves, the smell it leaves behind. It's not like these things that, they kind of oversaturate your house with like a flowery smell. It's just really...
Yeah, it's an absence of smell is the best way I can describe it. And it's going to be in the 60s this week. My windows are opening, and I don't know that I'm closing them again. And stuff is going to start to bloom, and I have seasonal allergies, and my thunderstorm staying in. So if you get the allergies, it's getting warmer. Get in on the 3-pack now. Take care of it now.
Well, that's the other thing about this is that we've never run a 3-pack deal, and you'll save $200 with the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier 3-pack. You get 3 units for under $200, and you save $200. You can get one for your basement, for your first floor, for your second floor. You can even give one to a friend. It's a great gift. You guys heard Dr. Matt on Howie's show. He had a Thunderstorm, and he loved it so much he bought his son one because his son has a stinky cat who shall remain nameless, and the smell is no longer there. So congrats to Dr. Matt's son and Stinky Cat. With a 3-pack, you can now enjoy clean air everywhere in your house or workplace. It's been 3 months now. We've been talking about the Thunderstorm Air Purifier. People still ask me all the time. They say to me, Grace, does it really work? It really does. And it's got this good nozzle, which Jared described one time, because, you know, you can adjust it based off how much power you want. It's a great product. And I want you guys to know that the Eden Pure air purifiers are available. This 3-pack is available if you go to EdenPure.com, put in code word GRACE3 to save $200 for their special 3-pack. That's EdenPure.com, code word GRACE3. Shipping is free. We'll be back on the other side with your calls, 844-500-4242. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You can call her late for dinner. Just don't call her Gracie. It's The Grace Curley Show.
Here's 1 minute of CNN's Don Lemon.
What do you say to those Trump voters who prioritize the economy over the president's bigotry?
I have a big announcement, and it's somewhere on my body.
Because the biggest purveyor of fake news is the president in this country, because he does it a lot.
I'm just going to speak from the heart here. What we have witnessed was a total eclipse of the fact.
If you thought I went hard in 2019, watch 2020, baby. There's more to come. I'm a soldier. I'm ready to fight.
Talking about the cost of this parade and where there would be tanks, right? And would there be nuclear weapons? Americans, are you mad as hell? I wouldn't normally address this. As a journalist, I don't really like being the story here. Kanye West, entitled to his own opinion, but is not very bright and not very, when it comes, I'm talking about this issue, not overall. So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
You guys have heard me talk about super beats for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why super beats? You can take it from me. The benefits of super beats are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon, when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a super beat and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind super beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind super beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about super beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
200 moms, dads, sons, daughters, grandparents who are no longer with us. I think it's up to 30,000 people have died. Over 600,000 dead, 600,000+ people.
60,000.
660. We're in the middle of a pandemic that had cost us more than 85,000 jobs, lives of millions of people. And now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. 200 million people have died. 205 million people, 1,000 people. 210,000 people have died. 4 million existing billion, 500,000. 50,000. A class of 25, you end up having 2 classes of 12, for example. But you know, in the 2020 census, which is now 2 censuses ago, the Oval, back in May 2019, a $15 million, $15,000 minimum wage. I got to the Senate 180 years ago.
This is The Grace Curley Show.
Is it true that when you were having the test administered, you inhaled and the doctor's finger went all the way up your nose and got stuck and had to be released with a tool? Is that true? Just to deal with the record.
She
she wanted to comment that I have a little button nose, and she was afraid that the swab would actually hurt because it extended my nasal cavity.
The proboscis
she was
issue.
Speaking about the delicacy of
the nose. And that's what, you know what, I understand. This.
Not so funny anymore, are you, Cuomo brothers? Between Chris Cuomo saying he's black on the inside and Andrew Cuomo trying to battle these sexual harassment allegations, the Variety Hour just got a lot less fun. And I actually have a great piece here that I'm going to read to you guys from Vanity Fair. But first, David, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Go ahead, David.
Hi, Grace. I was just wondering, have you ever heard of the Great Barrington Declaration?
I have. Tell people what that is.
Yeah, that's basically where all these over 50,000 doctors around the world back in October have said that the best way to fight COVID was through the herd immunity, where basically the population just keeps on existing. The healthy population just does what it's supposed to have done before. And between us, we will get kind of sick from it, but we fight it like a flu and we eliminate it through the herd immunity while keeping the sick people and the elderly, where they are and keeping them that way. And this is what the red states are doing now, if you notice. This is what we're going to. And the whole reason why the politicians didn't want to do this, I believe, is because it took all of the power and control away from them by going to that. But we're seeing in the end that this seems like a very good way of fighting COVID, and the red states are proving this.
Yeah, and to your point, David, I think a lot of people in the beginning of this said, why don't we just protect the vulnerable, which is the old people? And, some of us will get it. Some of us will feel bad for maybe a week or two. But we're all, the fairly healthy people will come out of this okay. And instead it was shut everyone down. And then the amazing part was, I think at one point Marty Walsh said something like, we didn't have enough herd immunity because we locked down too good. So we had to keep locking down more. There's no rhyme or reason to this. I think you're absolutely right. It's a power grab, 1,000%. Thank you for the call, David. Please call back, 844-500-4242. Jared, we have to do the poll question. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier 3-pack. Just for our listeners, save $200 on the 3-pack. To order, go to EdenPure.com and put in code word GRACE3. Jared, what is the poll question and what are the results thus far?
Will that be the last time Harry and Meghan talk about the royal family?
No.
86% say bollocks. 14% say indubitably.
Indubitably. Guys, I have a couple quick stories here I want to run through before we get to producers' picks. First of all, this story in Vanity Fair, I'm going to read a little bit of this to you guys. I think it's very interesting. The scandals swirling around Andrew Cuomo have reignited speculation about the memoir he published last year, American Crisis, Leadership Lessons from the COVID-19 Pandemic, highlighting hits then heralded handling of New York coronavirus emergency. The biggest curiosity of all remains the size of Cuomo's book deal. And this is what he said. You'll see it on my financial disclosure. The deadline for that is May 15th, so the anticipation is building. But the talk among sources familiar with the deal is that the book sold for at least low to mid 7 figures, which is a blockbuster sum by industry standards. Cuomo has said, now this is the part, Jared, that I want to drill down on. Cuomo has said he would donate a portion of his earnings from the book to an unspecified COVID-19 related charity. Unspecified. You know what I like? I like specifics. I like specific charities. I want the name of that charity, sir. I look forward to seeing those financial disclosures, though. That I will admit. Print sales for American Crisis totaled 45,800 as of the week ending February 27th. Topical books like this tend to see their numbers drop off after the first 8 weeks. And, then they just talk about how his scandal didn't help sell the books, which makes sense. Now, a second thing I wanted to hit here, and I'm just running through these before we get to Jared. Greta Thunberg was on MSNBC yesterday. And do we have the sound, Jared? Oh, we do. Okay. Greta, take it away.
You shouldn't take that from me. I'm just a teenager,
oh, wait,
so
hold on.
I don't have...
let me set this up a little bit. She's asked about how well Joe Biden is doing with climate change and if she is impressed with his handling of climate change. Go ahead.
You shouldn't take that from me. I'm just a teenager, so I don't have the mandate to sort of give grades like that. My opinions on this doesn't matter. You should rather look at the science and whether his policies are in line with the Paris Agreement and to stay below 1.5 or even 2 degrees Celsius. And then you can clearly see that, no, it's not nearly enough in line with the science. And that's not me saying, that's just black and white looking at the facts.
Greta, who endorsed Joe Biden, is not a fan of how he's handling climate change. Huh. I also love how now she's saying, well, it's not really my bag to start grading politicians or to get involved with this kind of stuff. You shouldn't take my advice. If it was Trump, I'm sure she'd be okay grading. When we get back on the other side, guys, we'll be talking about producers' picks. And I got one story about Josh Hawley that is going to blow your mind. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
If you're thinking about a new RV this year, I've got 2 words of advice for you. Buy early. This is Howie Carr. With the popularity of camping growing and manufacturers' constraints, the earlier you shop, the better. Our friends at Cold Springs RV are ready for you. They have an indoor heated showroom and heated units outside for winter browsing. They are also ready to sell your current RV on consignment. Learn more at coldspringsrv.com or visit Cold Springs RV in Ware, New Hampshire. Liberty Safe. If you're a gun owner, you know that name because they've worked so hard to earn the title of America's #1 safe. And the area's best Liberty Safe dealer is Dependable Lock in Nashua. They have Liberty Safes in stock now. Keep your guns and other valuables locked up in a Liberty Safe. See the experts at Dependable Lock to learn more and see the full collection. LibertySafeNewHampshire.com. LibertySafeNewHampshire.com.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble with some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me it starts here in my gut, it goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is #1. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
Okay, boys and girls, gather round. It's story time with Grace Curley. Tell me the story of the missing makeup brush.
When I first started working for Howie, I was in sales with the mailroom manager. And one time I bought this really expensive makeup brush. Because working for Howie, it was like my first real paycheck. So I went out and bought this super expensive brush. And when I was driving around with the mailroom manager, we go all over New England making sales. I lost it. I thought I lost it in her car. And, I asked her, I said, hey, have you seen my makeup brush? And she she was kind of like, no, I haven't seen it. I'm sure it'll turn up. But I was really determined to find it, and I kept saying, like, no, you got to check again. You got to check again. I eventually found it in my own car under the seat, but she still remembers thinking, this girl is wacky about her makeup.
Catch all of Grace Curley's stories weekdays right before Howie from 12 to 3 on The Grace Curley Show. And follow Grace on Twitter at @G_Curley.
What impact do you think Russian interference had in the election?
I think it was one of the major contributors to the outcome.
Years from the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton still can't accept the results. Take a listen.
You can run the best campaign. You can be the person who gets the nomination. You could lose. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
This wasn't on the level. Flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them. It's like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado. So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously, I can beat him again. So, of course, he's obsessed with me.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. We are going to do producer's picks here, but I am going to be greedy, Jared, for 1 minute and ask to run through 2 or 3 more stories. This story is pretty amazing. After defunding the police, NYC First Lady, that's Bill de Blasio's wife, is asking or is pleading for citizens to intervene in violent crimes as assaults spike. The wife of New York Mayor Bill de Blasio wants citizens to personally, physically intervene to stop violent crimes 9 months after she convinced her husband to get aboard the Defund the Police movement by redirecting money from police to youth initiatives and social services. The shootings in New York City doubled in 2020 and were up 75% last month. Some of these tips that she gives are kind of wild. She suggested that witnesses step into the middle of a hate crime or incident and engage directly with the person who's being targeted by asking a question like, "What time is it?" She also advised that witnesses respond directly to the aggressor or physically intervene, and only after assessing the situation. Be confident, assertive, calm. This is risky, but sometimes all we can do is speak up.
Nah, I'm good, thanks. I'm not gonna jump in front of a gun. Sorry.
They could also support a person in crisis by recording on your phone and check in with the survivor after the incident. This shows them that they are valued. How about we just bring back the police? I mean, I don't want to simplify this.
Whoa, racist. Whoa.
I don't want to simplify this too much, but it seems like you could use the police. In another story, we talked a lot about Andrew Cuomo, and the New York Times has taken a sudden interest in his story, but that doesn't mean they've stopped doing the real reporting, the real journalism. Okay? This is the headline. Josh Hawley's prom date. I've been very disappointed to see who he has become. So sure, you're upset that, Cuomo, may have killed 11 or signed an order that killed 11,000 people. But the New York Times is, they're covering the hard-hitting stuff. They're tracking down Josh Hawley's prom date to find out just how disappointed she is in Josh Hawley. And I just have to say, when I saw this amazing piece of journalism, first of all, I did not read it. I'm not insane. But I saw the headline, and it made me think of another piece of journalism that I don't think we've done enough follow-up on, and that would be Snowflake, the Bichon Frise. That is Ted Cruz's dog, who he left when he went to Cancun. Remember, that was like the worst thing any human had ever done. Sure, there was a person there who was going to feed the dog and give him water, but still, Bichon Frise, Snowflake, was not invited on the trip to Cancun. And I just feel as though it would be good to know where Snowflake is at right now. Is he petitioning for emancipation? Is he readjusting to the Cruzes being back home? These are all important issues. But if you guys want to check that story out, that's at the New York Times. And also, Jared, which I'm sure you know, evangelicals for Biden feel used and betrayed by Biden fulfilling his radical abortion promises. File this under who could have seen this coming. Jared, I'm handing it over to you now. It is time for Producer's Picks.
And now, the feature so many of our listeners wait for each day. Producer's Picks.
All right, we start off with some good news out of California. I know that's not a sentence we often put together.
Seriously.
Leaders in the Newsom recall effort believe they have enough signatures to trigger the special election.
Woo!
Now,
Woo!
of course, a governor recall, unlike a national election, needs to be signature verified. So, of course, we have to make sure all of these signatures match, and that whatever they throw out after that, they will still have to go through the process because, integrity.
Yeah, we wouldn't want Gavin Newsom being treated unfairly in this situation.
Exactly, but it appears they have enough.
Yeah, they got
signatures.
so many. They got so many more than they needed, so it's looking like they'll definitely have them.
They can absorb losing a couple. So
that is good news.
You remember Papa John from Papa John's Pizza?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know if you saw this story, but so Papa John was the former CEO of Papa John's Pizza, who was unceremoniously dismissed for using the N-word, which, hey, props for that. Can't defend that.
No, right.
So he recently was on OAN, and he was talking about how he's been working to try and rehab himself and his image, and this is what he had to say.
And we've had 3 goals for the last 20 months to get rid of this N-word in my vocabulary and dictionary and everything else because it's just not true.
Okay. It should take 20 months. Like, how much deprogramming? Like, did he have a jar, like a swear jar, and every time he said it, he had to put a quarter in? Like, what?
Yeah,
dude, just don't say the word.
There's some stories, and I know this might seem funny because I'm talking about the Harry and Meghan story today, but there are some stories that you just look at and you're like, I don't see any heroes in this or villains. Like, I just see kind of ugh. And when I see the Papa John stories, I'm like, I never click on them. I never even dive into that. I'm more of a Domino's girl to begin with. They send great emails about their promotions, which I appreciate. And I just never ventured into the PJ world.
Yeah, I was never a fan of their pizza. But, I mean, honestly, 20 months?
Yeah.
To not say a bad word?
And, like, I think if you're trying to rehab your image, you just heard it again with that sentence.
Yeah, that's not going to help you there, sir. So, Grace, are you familiar with the Urban Dictionary?
Yes, I use it almost every day.
Okay, so for those...
I used it today, actually.
Those who are not familiar, the Urban Dictionary, it's an online dictionary that sort of explains slang and colloquialism and things like that. So if you have a question or you hear like woke, for example, on the Urban Dictionary, woke would be defined there as somebody who is hypersensitive or hyper aware of something like that. Well, there was a bit of an uproar with the Urban Dictionary over the weekend with the term blue Anon. Are you familiar with that?
I am familiar with that. That is like the because QAnon is for that. That's how they like to paint the right wing. We're all QAnon conspiracy theorists, but it's really a far right fringe group that believe in QAnon.
Yes.
So blue Anon is the far left conspiracy theorists.
Yes, according to Urban Dictionary, blue Anon was the definition that was up and was taken down, but has now been put back. Blue Anon is a loosely organized network of Democrat voters, politicians, and media personalities who spread left-wing conspiracy theories such as the Russia hoax, Jussie Smollett hoax, Ukraine hoax, Covington Kid hoax, and the Brett Kavanaugh hoax.
I like that. That makes sense.
And Blue Anon adheres fervently to the belief that right-wing extremists are going to storm the Capitol any day now and remove lawmakers from office.
Well, that's what Online Chatter says.
Yes. Ken last week spoke to, I believe, someone on Twitter who gave the story to Newsweek. A gentleman named Ken from the QAnon apparently said that April 20th is the next one.
That's about as specific as Andrew Cuomo's COVID charity. Ken. Ken from the web. Who told you this information? Ken from online.
Ken Anon from the unnamed Andrew Cuomo COVID charity.
Exactly.
Has told us the April 20th or March 20th is the next date. So this is kind of a fun little story. You're talking about Snowflake. So licensing data has revealed Boston's 25 most popular dog names of 2020.
Oh, I already know one because I've had people name Brady.
Brady.
It's got to be one.
Brady did not make the list.
Really?
Yep.
Bruin
did not make the list.
Really? Are any of them Boston-based?
Yes, it's the Boston Parks and Rec Department's Animal Care Control Division released the top 25 names.
All right, so apparently I'm way off. Okay.
Number 1 is Luna.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Bella. Number 3 is Charlie. Number 4 is Lucy. Number 5 is Lola. Coming in at number 6, obviously with the giant Elizabeth Warren surge, is Bailey.
Yeah, I should have guessed that.
Bailey is number 6.
Charlie's a good one. My best friend has a dog named Charlie, and he is a gem. He is a very good dog.
So there you go. So Luna is the number 1 dog name in 2020, according to Boston Parks and Rec Department.
See, I kind of like the names that are just human names for a dog. I find there's something funny about that. And you have a dog,
They're
you
just
name
a
it
human being.
You name it Benjamin or something, you know?
Yeah, good dog name.
Because then when you call it, maybe there's a Benjamin and he gets a little startled, and you're like, hey, just talking to my dog. Relax. Yeah, Jared, is that producer's picks for the day?
Just one more happy 68th birthday to my favorite Red Sox growing up, Jim Rice. 3-time AL home run leader, 2-time Silver Slugger, 1978 AL MVP, 8-time All-Star, played his entire 16-year career with the Red Sox, and his number 14 is retired. Jim Rice, a bit surly in his playing days, did not get as much love as some of the more media-friendly players, but happy 68th birthday to my favorite player growing up for the Red Sox, Jimmy Rice.
Wow,
you're so nice.
Your favorite player. That's amazing. And also, Jared, in the sports world, because I know you're a sports guy, I believe Keith Yandel, who's also a Boston native, he broke a record for playing the most games. He without taking a break. I think at one point he knocked like 7 of his teeth out, and he came back for the 3rd period. So props to Keith Yandel. I'm a big fan.
Definitely. He's with Florida now,
I believe so. Guys, we'll be back on the other side with the car crossover. Thank you for that fabulous producer's picks, Jared. You really got everything in. You got dogs,
I'm a smorgasbord of entertainment.
You know, Jared delivers. That's what we always say here. Jared delivers. Guys, if you haven't tried Super Beets Heart Chews, you are missing out. They're delicious, they taste good, and they're combined with non-GMO beets that create a powerful new ingredient, grapeseed extract. The grapeseed extract used in Super Beets has been clinically shown to be 2 times as effective at supporting normal blood pressure as a healthy lifestyle alone. Better blood pressure means more energy, the way nature intended, without the jittery caffeine or the stimulants. That's the thing. You get into this slump, it hits 2 o'clock, and you go, I'll just have another cup of coffee. You don't want to go down that road, okay? It's not going to make you feel good. It's not going to give you the energy you really want. What you want to do is you want to reach into your bag of Super Beets, you pull one out, it's wrapped up, it's easy to eat, and they're delicious, and then you feel great. And it also supports your blood pressure, which is awesome. Do what I did, support your heart health with delicious Super Beets Chews. Get your Super Beets Chews today at getsuperbeets.com/grace. That's getsuperbeets.com/grace. When you buy 2 bags, they'll throw in a 3rd for free. That's getsuperbeets.com/grace. We'll be back on the other side with the one and only Howie Carr. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You're listening to The Grace Curley Show.
What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy?
The Constitution does not say that a person can shout wolf in a crowded theater.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. Chocolate, candy, chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. Consistently practice social distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leadership?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big eater. I mean, Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
What do you think is causing this erratic behavior?
I think that the president has always had erratic behavior. I have ice cream in my freezer. I guess that's better than having Lysol in somebody's lungs.
Civilization as we know it is at stake.
I don't drink, but I'm happy to have ice cream with anybody, anytime.
You guys have heard me talk about super beats for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why super beats? You can take it from me. The benefits of super beats are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a super beat and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind super beats? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
Grace Curley. She's the cool kid at the lunch table.
I want a hamburger, no cheeseburger. I want a hot dog. I want a milkshake. I want potato chips. You'll get nothing like it.
This is the Grace Curley Show.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Grace Curley Show. We had a really fun show today. We had Chris DeGaulle on. We talked the Royal Rumble and the Cuomo brothers, and there's just so much news to cover. I think there's more news about the Lincoln Project coming out, but I'll have to save that for tomorrow. Where you can catch all of the breaking news is with Howie Carr, and that is why now it's time for the Carr crossover. It's brought to you by McConnell's Irish Whiskey. You'll know when you take your first sip, some things are worth the wait. Also, McConnell's Whiskey is sponsoring our studio VIP visits once Howie returns. The first will be Tuesday, May 4th. You can enter for a chance to win a free VIP visit. Go to HowieCarrshow.com. Click on the McConnell's Whiskey banner. You'll get not only a great spread of food, all of Howie's books, but you'll also get a McConnell's Irish Whiskey gift basket. This is valued at over $400. So go to HowieCarrshow.com, click on the banner. It's free to enter. Get there now. Howie Carr, thank you for joining the show.
Saints preserve us. What a great deal that is from McConnell's Irish Whiskey.
All right, Howie. So my question for you today, because you've written a lot of books, are you surprised by this 7-figure payday that Andrew Cuomo got for his earth-shattering book about handling the COVID crisis?
Well, what I'm really surprised at is how little it sold after all of the incredible promotion it got. It sold under 46,000 copies. Do you know how much that means that the publishing company lost? Because you have to pay back your advance. And when you're dealing with hardcover books, the average royalty per book is about $4. So just do the math. He's made about $180,000 in royalties, and they paid him somewhere between $1 and $6 million or $7 million. I'm guessing it's probably around $4 or $5 million. So how much of a bath is the publishing house going to have to take on that?
Oh, I feel so bad for them.
Well, I feel bad for them because I never got any kind of advances like that, and my books sold pretty well. But you know, this is why I like to print my own books now, Grace, because when I'm working for the New York publishing house, the profit on my books is paying for people like Andrew Cuomo to get these payoffs, or the Obamas. But at least no one reads the Obama books, but at least they buy them. I mean, I was kind of shocked that nobody's even buying these books.
Well, I think that if the legend of Andrew Cuomo had, stayed the way it was going for a while, then maybe people would still be buying them and putting them on their coffee tables. But now people aren't just not putting them on their coffee tables. I think these people are probably trying to get rid of these books so that no one ever finds out they bought it in the first place. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, I know. Well, in the old days, it'd be a good thing to dump at the recycling facility, aka the dump in Wellesley. But now the dump is it's harder to. I don't know if they even allow you to browse the dump library anymore. But it's really just amazing, though. I mean, this is just a way to pay people off, pay liberals off. That's all this is, basically. These publishing deals, and I just don't get it. Why they would pay him? Why they would pay anybody this kind of money?
Howie,
and then they cancel J.K. Rowling's book. I mean, she could actually make him big bucks, and because she says a man is a man and a woman is a woman, she has to be canceled.
Well, I think it was a different publishing house, but Josh Hawley's
they're all the same.
Josh Hawley's book also got canned at one point, and then it got picked up by somebody else. But it was the
Simon
same situation.
Schuster, another one of those big lib publishers in New York, and then I think it got picked up by one of the more conservative houses elsewhere. I forget which one. I don't think it was Regnery, but it was one like Regnery.
Hey, Howie, did you hear the CDC is saying that people who get fully vaccinated can enjoy some limited freedoms?
Yeah, very limited, it looks like, because they're still going to say the problem is these corporations are still going to say like Target. You said you were at Target earlier this week, Target or the big supermarket chains. They're going to say you still have to wear a mask. I read the thing and at first I said, oh, this is really a blow for team lockdown. But on the other hand, they're just going to say, well, You may be vaccinated, but what about our associates at the supermarket or at the checkout counter? They're not vaccinated, so you can't. You still have to wear a mask. Grace, I've come to the conclusion. I came up with this idea last night that this is not a religion, which I've been saying it is. This is really a disease, and we need a 12-step program to deal with this. COVID Anonymous.
What's the first step?
Well, there are many steps. You have to admit that you are powerless over a mask. You have to. One mask is too many, Grace, and 1,000 are not enough.
Well, that is the truth.
You have to make personal apologies to people you have wronged while you were in the throes of the addiction, like people you've screamed at because they were going down the wrong way in the aisle in the supermarket, or that were not wearing a mask. I think it may be the first path on a step to recovery.
Well, I think, Howie, and there was a piece today in the New York Post by Carol Markowitz, but I think she put it really well when she said, this entire thing has empowered the busybodies of our society. And I'm thinking, that's really true. It's the Karens have had a banner year. Guys, don't go anywhere. Howie Carr is coming up next. Thank you for letting me talk about Meghan and Harry. I promise I will not be talking about it tomorrow. We'll be back. This is The Grace Curley Show.
I've been on Balance 7 for 2 weeks now, and I cannot believe my energy. Last weekend, I was feeling so good I did 3 bike rides. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. You feel better, and I personally sleep better. It also reduces acid, reflux, and heartburn. Often I'm asked to try products, and I can be very skeptical of the claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I don't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wears on. By allowing me to sleep better at night, I have more mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body over time. All you do is drink a small shot of the liquid 3 times a day and you will feel the difference.